All right, welcome back to the Apogee Performance Podcast. I'm Ryan Padilla, your host and founder and CEO of Apogee Performance Nutrition. This week, what I want to talk about is the will to survive and the power of manifestation. Let's get into it. Okay, so the power of manifestation, it's like something that basically hippie chicks and girls think that like, all I have to do is think positive and then the positive things are gonna happen. But you know what? That's a good way of thinking to be positive. You do want to be positive because you want to make your brain think in positive ways. But what happens when shit goes sideways? The positive thoughts might turn negative real quick. And so then what are you going to do? Are you just going to say, well, I guess I was manifesting negative things and I'm just going to have to accept the fact that just negative things are going to happen to me? No, that's bullshit. There now comes in a thing called the will to survive. The will to survive was something that was almost literally beat into me when I was in the police academy in 2012. It's probably one of the most influential things that I took away from being a cop. The will to survive is doing what is necessary at all times to make sure you are the winner, that you always win the outcome. So when it comes to the will to survive, I'll give you an example. And I remember being in a scenario and watching this happen. And there was this female recruit who approached a building and the scenario was, it's just like knock and talk on the door, possible domestic violence. We don't really know what the scenario was, but you just got to go knock on the door and figure it out. So she knocks on the door and immediately someone opens the door and starts opening fire on her, starts shooting her. Obviously it was a fake gun, fake scenario, but she froze. She didn't do anything. She didn't pull her gun. She just accepted the fact that she was being shot in the moment and that she was basically dead. And that's a prime example of not having this mindset of the will to survive. So my experience as a cop was you went to many unknown scenarios. Yeah, the dispatcher is going to tell you what the call is or what the call is coming in, but a lot of times you did not have all of the information that you needed to handle these calls. So while I'm en route to these calls, I would be thinking of scenarios in my mind of, if this happens, then I will do this. And let me give you an example. So if I show up and as soon as I put my car in park and someone comes out of the house and just starts dumping rounds on me, then I will respond by, let's say, ducking out of the car, getting behind cover, and returning fire. These are things that you had to run through your mind. And I know this doesn't apply to everybody or anyone who just has a basic stay-at-home job or they work out of a cubicle. But these things can happen, and what I can say is reduce what I'm saying to a scenario that fits for you. Okay, for fitness, for example, if you don't plan ahead and you're just going about your day and you're just thinking, well, you know what, I'll just get the food that I want when it's lunchtime, and you don't really think ahead. Basically, that whole idea of will to survive is you didn't plan ahead, you didn't think about what you were going to eat, so you just chose anything to eat. And that is basically putting you in a scenario where like you're just accepting the fact that I'm going to be fat, I'm going to be unhealthy, I'm going to be obese, and I don't care anymore. You can't have that mentality, especially when you're trying to fight for your health. So when it comes to your health and fitness, the will to survive is applied in this way. You are a human being. You are going to die, but you can push that off much later and live a much higher quality of life by implementing this idea of the will to survive. So if you just say like, I'm fat, I have high cholesterol, I am pre-diabetic, or I have diabetes, or I have some sort of chronic disease, and you just accept that to be the case and that to be your reality, then that is no will to survive. But if you are diagnosed with those things, or you want to prevent those things, the will to survive comes in eating healthy, choosing the right things to eat, not eating in excess, so you're not always eating over. I'm not saying like I don't go and eat a fuck ton of pizza every now and then. I do, but I don't do that every day. So the will to survive for you and for me to prevent these chronic diseases, or to even try to reverse these chronic diseases, is to implement the will to survive. And you're going to start changing your lifestyle in accordance to what needs to happen for you to survive. So that means making the drastic steps to change your lifestyle. Start preparing your meals at home. Eat most of your meals at home or from home. Stop buying food from restaurants or fast food places constantly. It's unhealthy. Another thing that you should implement is stop drinking so much alcohol. Do I drink alcohol? Yes, I do. So I'm not demonizing the fact that adults will drink alcohol. What I'm getting at is don't drink it all the time. When I go out, I'll have maybe 2 drinks. And I rarely get to go out because I have 2 children and babysitting isn't the easiest thing to get out here. But what I'm saying is, in my home, we have alcohol. In my home, I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink alcohol Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday if I'm at home. I don't drink in front of my kids because I don't really want them to think that drinking is something that we do all the time. If we do have friends over, I will have some drinks, but it's very rare and it's a social atmosphere. It's not a habit that I formed. It's not sit down on the couch, put on some reality TV show, and then start drinking until I go to bed. That's not healthy, and it's basically killing you. And another part of the will to survive when it comes to health and fitness is getting your exercise in, no matter what. That means if you have to wake up a little bit earlier, you do that and you get your fitness in. If that means you have to stay up a little bit later, or after the kids go to bed, you do your workout, do your workout. There's no exceptions here. If you want real results, you have to change the way that you live. And if you are one of these people with chronic disease and you want to live longer, you want to be there for your kids, you want to be there for your family, you want to be there as a grandparent, then you have to change the way that you are living currently in order to attain that. You can mask it and band-aid it with pharmaceuticals and think that you're going to live longer. You're not. It's not going to make you live longer. It's going to make you live longer than what would happen if you weren't on it and you did have these chronic diseases. But as a longevity aspect, are you going to make it to 100? No. So in my experience, when people opt to be on these medications to manage their chronic illnesses, they kind of see it as a safety net. Much like my dad did. He was put on statins. The way that he went about it was, I'm on these medications, now it's going to control my cholesterol, now I can still eat whatever the fuck I want. That's not the case. You're still going to get sick. It's going to make it worse. You have to change your lifestyle. That is the will to survive. Another part of the will to survive is, I'll give you an example. When I was a canine handler, shit didn't go the way that you thought it was going to go all the time. Like, you have a plan in your head until you get punched in the face. You have a plan in your head until shit goes sideways. So you have to be adaptable is what I'm getting at. As a canine handler, I might have been set up to enter into a building, send my dog into a building. And then as the information is happening and the building has a perimeter and the helicopter is overhead monitoring everything, and someone bolts or they rabbit out the side of a house, you can't just be like, well, the plan was to send the dog in, but now that's not the plan, so what do we do? You have to adapt. You grab your dog, you start running, and you get after that suspect. So what I'm trying to say is, in this scenario, in a real life scenario, a scenario that is more normal and not as intense as what I have experienced. Say your plan was to go to the gym after work, but some shit got in the way. Well, guess what? Your day's still not over, so you don't get to go to the gym. adapt and move the location. That means you can do some home workouts, do some body weight exercises. Instead of just sitting on the couch while watching TV, maybe do some body weight squats or some push-up. Or if you have a treadmill or a bike, everybody has a phone, everybody has an iPad most likely. Put that shit on the treadmill, put it on your bike, and start moving your body. These are all ways that you can change your lifestyle in order to have that will to survive, have that will to be better, have that will to win. Once again, this is Ryan Padilla with Apogee Performance Nutrition. Go exceed your limits.